Hello guys and welcome to another track guide video, and today we got Nürburgring GP in Group 4, and for this one I decided to go with this Alfa because this is probably the best car in the qualifying, but in the race you really have to save the fuel, so I would recommend something like a WRX because it's very good when it comes to fuel saving. So my recommendation would be go with the Alfa in the qualifying and go with the Subaru WRX in the race. So without further ado, let's get going. Let's get going with this track guide video, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, nothing much to say about this car, especially when it comes to cornering. It's very good in the corners. That's pretty much why I use it here. Before the curb or the 100-meter sign, I try to get myself into the straight line and then brake. If you brake and turn in, this is going to become very difficult, and you're probably going to slide, and it's not very consistent in any way. So here I'm using this kind of a little tent. I think it's a tent. I mean, it can be whatever it is. So I usually use that for my start of turning. So I usually start turning in there, lift off a little bit, tap the brakes, something like which I'm going to do here, and then accelerate. But here, you want to use about 50 to 60% of the brakes. Usually I use a little bit more, to about 80 something percent, and then I let it go to about 50, because if you put the brakes down very hard, the car will slide. And I use second gear to kind of accelerate and third on the way out. This is something that I always try to kind of implement in my driving style. Use the rotation in lower gear, and then when I'm kind of getting outside of the corner, basically I'm letting go, I'm accelerating in higher gear. So here something like that is going to happen, like I'm going in third and accelerating in third. But here again, you can use two marks, whichever you like. Pretty much, you know, it's down to personal preference. Second gear, you might even want to consider accelerating here in third gear. I did accelerate in second. It gave me a very nice acceleration, but I think even third gear would be better here. But the downshift must be done in second gear to rotate the car. Here I'm looking to the right hand side, and always you want to brake in the straight line. Otherwise the car will slide and you will lose a lot of grip, and therefore you will lose a lot of traction. So that's pretty much the same thing, but again, you're gonna lose a lot of time. So in the kind of in the middle of the corner, you start to accelerate about 50-60% in. It's very hard to find the perfect zone to accelerate. That's why this track is so super hard. I mean, it's very difficult to find the perfect place where you're gonna accelerate, and just, you know, you just have to be lucky sometimes. And I think it's, yeah, that's what it is with this track. But here I'm looking at the right hand side, braking in the straight line, and just before the 100, or you can use the tree on the right, a little bit of trail braking. Once again, not much, because you really need to keep that back stable. So the back of the car must stay stable. Here I'm looking at the beginning of the curb and just tapping the brakes slightly, maybe about 15-20%, slight tap, and let the car to turn in. And this was third gear on the way out, but I think you can go in fourth. It really depends on the acceleration, it really depends on the angle, but I do prefer third. I mean, if you think like you can do it in fourth, try it in fourth, but I think third is actually a little bit better. But here, 100-meter sign a little bit later, like at about 90. And just when I get to about to this point, 50-meter sign, or you can see the marshals right there on the right. This is where I just let go of the brakes and turn in. So if you stay on the brakes, the car will understeer. So you have to let go of the brakes and the car will eventually turn in, because you just don't want to lock up the front tires a lot. Something like that is even going to happen in here. So I'm looking at the cone, slightly braking, the car starts to slide. I mean, it's about not even 50% of the brakes, and then accelerating. So I'm 50% off the brakes in, letting go of the brakes because the car would eventually understeer and you would kind of lose a lot of grip. So I just go in there, 50% off the brakes, let the car go so it rotates naturally, and then I accelerate. But guys, that's pretty much about it. So if you liked the video, you can even smash the like button, you can even subscribe to the channel if you really liked it. So once again, thank you very much for watching the video, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye. Okay. And a 0.7.